Hi, it's me, Olivia. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel for interesting stories and visit my Patreon page for early access. Link in the description. Thanks. A time when I was the birthday surprise for a girlfriend's boyfriend. February 18th, 1994. It was a shopping date of a lifetime, one that I will never forget, one that was filled with excitement, wonderment, discovery, and pure feminine bliss. It was a trip that was planned for a few months and every detail worked out perfectly, and the result was a beautiful February day that found me on the arm of a dear friend that posed as my boyfriend, and we shopped at 3 shops, and 2 of them were formal bridal outlets. Rita, a dear friend that near the beginning of October 1993 posed as my professional photographer and took me on a trip to a public flower garden to be photographed in a number of my formal dresses. Well, the day went so well and Rita and I had so much fun together that I actually ended up leaving the flower gardens in a very short leather miniskirt. Rita in kind made sure that I was photographed by a very busy road and I was posing by her very sexy car, and we both loved the attention. So when I told Rita about my thoughts on how much fun she had posing as my male escort and that we would have even more fun if we played up the part of boyfriend and girlfriend on a formal date. Well, it was like a snowball starting down a hill, and the events of February 18th are about halfway down that hill. Rita expressed an interest in taking me on that very formal date and offered herself in a very sophisticated male form and offered to take me dancing and dining in an elegant restaurant. This has always been a dear dream of mine, and here is a very welcome and extremely generous person to offer me that. Thus the thoughts and ideas started to flow, almost like a domino effect. At first, the formal date was just Rita, dating me with a dress that was from my wardrobe. One of the things that Rita really enjoyed from the photo shoot at the flower gardens was the attention that was paid to us because of the short skirt and high heels. She mentioned that maybe I should consider a sexier dress for the occasion, just to make the evening more exciting. Well, that led to the next thing, and that was that there was a bridal factory outlet in the mall that I pick up my mail from my P.O. box, and I pass by this shop every day. I saw some girls trying on some very sexy off-the-shoulder velvet dresses, and I knew then and there that I had to have one, or at least try one on. So, after talking with Rita, we agreed that a shopping trip was in order so that she could see the dresses and how they looked on me. Thus the next domino fell, so now we had a shopping date. Well, why just go to one bridal shop? And I thought that it would be great to have Rita take me to another bridal shop, one much more intimate, and one that would be a wonderful experience that most men never get to see, and that is the inside of one of these bridal shops. Then Christmas came along and Rita wanted to get me a Christmas present and asked me for suggestions, and one of them was possibly helping me with buying a formal dress at one of the bridal shops. I knew had formals marked down as low as $30, or maybe during the Boxing Day sales, she could find me a cheap lavender leather skirt. Well, one thing led to another, and yet another stop was added to the shopping trip, and that was a trip over to a nearby town and a visit to a leather factory outlet. During the October 93 trip out to the flower gardens, time ran a little late for us. There was no time for a lunch together. Well, the plan was to make time for one during this trip. Rita and I talked about the date that was planned for the 18th of February, and then as we talked, started looking further to the formal date that we were also planning. We talked about where we would be possibly going, i.e., dining and dancing, and thought about how we might look, and then decided together that we should play the part of a boy and a girl on a romantic formal date. This scenario would make the date and evening more enjoyable. After all, why would I be getting all dressed to the nines and then going out with a guy if we were not dating as male and female? So, we decided that in order to play the role of boyfriend and girlfriend on a formal date, we should practice being boyfriend and girlfriend on a more casual date first, and thus the final mood, or stage, was about to be set. Therefore, Rita was going to be Paul for the casual and formal date, and at the first bridal shop, he was going to play my boyfriend. The scenario was as such, one that he was accompanying me to a very formal awards event in a month. He was going to pose a boyfriend that saw what Joyce had in her formal wardrobe and found all of her dresses to be prudish and didn't show any leg at all. Because Paul saw nothing he liked in Joyce's formal wardrobe, and Joyce was not in any mood to buy a new dress. She basically stated, "Fine, you buy me a new one, and I will model anything that you want." So with that set, we had the roles set, and we're going to play off the salesgirls/ladies when we got to the first shop. The leather shop and the lunch date were going to be played as boyfriend and girlfriend, and Paul promised to be the perfect gentleman. The second bridal shop we were going to be attending was a different scenario, and one that was a bit more complex. About 2 weeks before the 18th of February, I was walking by the first bridal shop and noticed a bride and her bridesmaid getting fitted for dresses, the bride under all of the spotlights, and having the salesgirl help her adjust her dress. Well, the thoughts of my own bridal shopping experience raced through my mind, and I began to think, well, what if I posed as a bride at the second intimate bridal shop, and thus the seed and thought was set. So Paul was going to pose as a friend that was going to help me find a formal at the second bridal shop, and then watch me try on bridal dresses and be pampered by the salesgirl, and then the ultimate with a prearranged script. He would take pictures of me changing in and out of bridal gowns. Phew, with all of that background information set up, the date approached, and as we talked and planned, we got more and more excited. I was planning on what exactly I was going to greet Paul in when he came to the door to pick me up, and I pretty well went through so many different parts of my wardrobe. I planned on basically 2 different outfits, one with a more conservative look and the other with a shorter skirt. I finally decided to let the weather decide on what exactly the final look would be, knowing full well that Paul would want to be escorting a woman in high heels and a short skirt, rather than a longer skirt and boots. In order to play the part of a bride for the second bridal shop, I had the pleasure of going through all of my old bridal magazines and sorting through the different styles of dresses. I would be prepared when the salesgirl/lady asked me exactly I was looking for. I could show her, and this was something that is recommended for most brides. So there I was, going through all of my old bridal magazines, looking at the different fashions, and deciding on what style to try on, and it reminded me so much of the first time that I went out to shop for real, for own wedding. Well, finally February 18th came, and the weather was perfect for February in this area. The temperature turned out to be in the low 50s, and the sun was shining. So when I woke up on the morning of the 18th and saw the temperature, I knew exactly what I was going to be wearing, and it was going to be short and sexy. So with the clothing decision made, I waited for the rest of the family to leave, and then I went into my bedroom and started to get ready for a date that was already very exciting. To start, I knew that I would be trying on wedding dresses and formal gowns that were of the off-the-shoulder variety, and therefore I slipped on my uncomfortable, yet necessary strapless bra. I continued and picked out a pair of my favorite purple panties and slipped into my pair of nearly black pantyhose that are considered ultra sheer, and boy they were, but did they ever feel nice and silky on my legs. Finally, I slipped into a blush-colored camisole and then finally my pink silky dressing gown. I then started my makeup application by applying my usual favorite makeup colors to my eyes, purple and pink, and making sure that my eyes were dark and seductive as I applied my eyeliner. My blush was light, yet making my cheeks look fresh and alive, and my lipstick was the only thing that I really altered. I decided that with my usual light pink that I would add a bit of a brighter pink to make my lips even more sexy. When my makeup was complete, I left the washroom and went to the bedroom and stripped off my dressing gown and started to get into the rest of my outfit for the day. I started by slipping on a short suede black skirt that I hiked up even more than just letting it sit on my hips, and with that I had a skirt that was about 4 inches above my knees, not quite a mini, but very, very close. The top I chose for the outfit was a wool knit top that was part of a skirt and top combination, but the top is perfect all on its own. The top has a wide open collar, not V-neck, but scooped-necked, and with the shoulder pads and the tightness of the sweater, it is very complimentary. The green and black stripes on the sweater make it very attractive with the short black suede skirt. With the clothes on, I started to go through and add the accessories for the day. The first a single strand of pearls, ones that would look good when I was trying on off-the-shoulder fashions, and very G'd with the sweater I had chosen. The next was my gold anklet, and with the color of the hose, the gold was set off perfectly and made my feet look even sexier and dainty. Finally, my gold watch, short dangly earrings, and I decided on a healthy spritz of Obsession perfume. I moved in front of the mirror and slipped my feet into 3-inch black pumps and admired the look that I had achieved, and knew that Paul would as well. About 30 seconds after viewing myself in the mirror, the phone rang, and it was Paul, only a few blocks away, calling to say that he was going to be only a few minutes. I used the time before Paul came to make sure my purse was all packed, including the cutouts of my favorite bridal dress styles, and then I picked out my nail color for the day. I decided on my favorite light pink color. I greeted Paul at the door, like any boyfriend and girlfriend would, and that is with a light, friendly kiss. I knew once I made the first friendly move that things would be a lot more like boyfriend and girlfriend on this date. Paul was the perfect gentleman by giving me a bouquet of flowers, and contained in them was pretty red roses. After the initial greetings, Paul and I retired to the living room of our house, and we chatted about what we were going to be doing as I applied my nail polish. I learned the hard way when I got up from the couch after doing my nails about how fussy ultra-silky sheer pantyhose are. As I got up from the couch, I slightly tripped and one of my heels slightly brushed up against my leg and Viola, a run. So with that delay, I rush upstairs and slipped into another pair of my ultra sheer pantyhose and but a regular liquor beige pair in my purse just in case. When we were finally set, Paul played the perfect gentleman and offered to hold my long winter coat as I slipped into it. The ride over to the first bridal shop was short, as it is only a few minutes away from my house. The first bridal shop labels itself as one that is considered a factory outlet and thus does not have the same romantic nature about it like other bridal salons. It was more like a large mall store and basically has 2 rows of dresses on either side. One side has wedding gowns and the other, formal evening dresses. The back of the store has the change areas, several change rooms, and 2 lighted mirrors with pedestals lighted by spotlights. When Paul and I walked in hand, we were greeted by the sight of a girl trying on wedding dresses with what looked like her mother and possibly her bridesmaid giving her compliments. At first, Paul and I scanned a few of the racks, concentrating on the velvet formals, with the more off-the-shoulder look to them. At first, the lone saleslady was paying attention to the young bride-to-be, and we were basically left to our own devices for the first little while. Paul made a comment about interrupting the sales lady to get some service, but I assured Paul that she would be with us in due time. Of course, as I had 2 or 3 dresses in my hands, she came up to me and asked if I wanted to try on the dress and what I was really looking for. After explaining what I wanted, she directed me to a dressing room stall and instructed me to feel comfortable and come out when I was ready. The first dress that I tried on was a dark green velvet formal, one that was totally off the shoulder and had a sweetheart neckline. Unfortunately, the dress was a size 15/16 and fit very loosely on me, but as pulled back the curtain and moved towards the large mirrored area and started to pose for Paul and myself in the mirror. Paul loved the look of the dress and made all sorts of comments, and so did the saleslady, and she scurried off to try and find that style of the dress in my size 13/14, my size. I also noted that the girls that were trying on bridal dresses when I came in, well, now it was the bridesmaid's turn. The other girl that was with the bride-to-be was modeling dresses, her in one mirror and me in the other. It was quite the thrill. Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access. Thanks.